Alright, let's dive into something that's been on my mind lately: The Undertaker's recent revelation about the best advice he ever got from Vince McMahon. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, you know these two names are practically synonymous with WWE's history. But what makes this story so compelling isn't just the advice itself, it's the context and the human dynamics behind it. So, let's break this down. First off, the hook here is Vince's advice: perception is reality. Simple, right? But when you dig into it, it's profound. Undertaker shared this on his 6 Feet Under podcast, and it's tied to a moment in the early 90s when he was wrestling a jobber, basically, a lesser-known talent. The guy was nervous, botching moves, and Undertaker got frustrated. He even admitted to being a bit of a jerk to the guy. Personally, I think this is where the story gets interesting. It's not just about the advice, it's about Undertaker's own flaws and how Vince called him out on them. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Vince didn't just give Undertaker a pep talk. He confronted him. He said, "Mark, the perception is that you're a giant asterisk 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 asterisk." Ouch. But what many people don't realize is how crucial this moment was. Vince wasn't just teaching Undertaker about wrestling, he was teaching him about asterisk leadership and empathy. In my opinion, this is a masterclass in how to handle talent, especially when you're in a position of power. It's not about being perfect, it's about recognizing how your actions are perceived by others. Now, let's take a step back and think about this in a broader context. The wrestling business is all about storytelling, right? But what this really suggests is that the backstage dynamics are just as important as what happens in the ring. Undertaker and Vince butted heads a lot over the years. Their visions for WWE didn't always align. One thing that immediately stands out is their disagreement over the Punjabi Prison match with Big Show. Undertaker wanted to jump between cages for a dramatic escape, but Vince insisted on a gate. Undertaker lost that battle, but guess what? The gate escape fell flat, and Vince eventually admitted Undertaker was right. What makes this really interesting is how it highlights the tension between creativity and authority. Even in a hierarchical organization like WWE, sometimes the talent's instincts are spot on. From my perspective, this story isn't just about wrestling, it's about human relationships and growth. Undertaker and Vince's 30-year partnership wasn't always smooth, but moments like these show why it worked. Vince wasn't just a boss, he was a mentor who wasn't afraid to challenge Undertaker. And Undertaker, for all his toughness, was willing to learn. A detail I find fascinating is how Vince's advice about perception has shaped Undertaker's entire career. It's not just about looking good in the ring, it's about how you carry yourself everywhere. If you take a step back and think about it, this advice applies to life in general. How we are perceived often dictates how we are treated, whether we like it or not. So, what's the takeaway here? Personally, I think it's this: great advice often comes from tough love. Vince could have brushed off Undertaker's frustration, but instead, he used it as a teaching moment. And Undertaker, despite being a legend, was humble enough to listen. This raises a deeper question: how often do we let our egos get in the way of growth? In my opinion, that's the real lesson here. Whether you're in wrestling, business, or just life, sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that stick. And if there's one thing this story proves, it's that even the Undertaker had to learn to check his ego at the door. So, what do you think? Is perception really reality? Or is there more to it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the legends.